So have a good night.
Alright, g'day. Fucking hell, it's glorious. I am merging on the highway, camera not straight. It's a bit that I like that no one else does. I am playing at the East Side Bowl tonight with Truman Eltringham, a fine young man, a fucking killer musician, and a dude I met at a Novo Guitars Rev Amps event who just kind of was like, hey man, want to come play sometime? He's got this sick little band playing some originals, and I wanted to show like a cool indie show I'm playing. Then I've got a late shift. Yeah, it's really cool. It's going to be interesting because I rehearsed with him, but I was unable to rehearse with the band. So I've just learnt the songs, and he's kind of like, dude, just think like a steel player and do your thing and whatever. Alright, you want my thing? Like, God, too many weird notes, too many wrong notes, right? But I'm very excited. It'll be my second time playing the East Side Bowl. First time I ever went, I saw JD play, JD Simo. And I had fun. And so I'm excited to play it and do the thing. Truman's just a great guy, a really good dude who writes really interesting songs. He creates music, not just trying to make a hit or like a #1 or some rubbish. And he records at the most vibey studio I've ever been in. Smokestack, owned by Paul Moak, spelled S-M-O-A-K. I've got to stretch that neck out. Yeah, man, super hip. Just some unreal vibes in there. But yeah, you know, playing indie shows. He asked me what my fee was, and I said nothing. I said nothing because, you know, I'm not rich. I have no savings. I have no money. But, you know, I remember his age making a band and trying to find players. People did that for me, or people put me on gigs I wasn't meant to be on and gave me a chance. I think that's something I want to talk about. You know, it's great to get this call because I was like, cool, I get to go play a gig off Broadway and kind of just hang, and I don't care if there's 5 people or 1,000 people, you know, we're going to have fun and jam and just play good music and dig deep, searching for some deeper strata of truth than what scale should I play over B flat minor if it's the 3 of the diatonic scale. But you know, getting and keeping a gig, right? Losing gigs and gaining them is just such an interesting thing. I've had someone call me who I love dearly. They're like, well, you know, going on a break. Okay, cool. Will you be fine? Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you this piece of advice that was told to me by Tom Bukovac, and it was very life-changing at the time. It was, man, you know, you have to trust in your playing ability to keep getting you gigs. It was, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, man, you have to know that your ability is good enough that you will get other gigs. And I was like, damn, like that's a very interesting statement. And it ties into something I've been thinking about a lot, and that is that I know I get a lot of gigs, but I kind of want a big gig. I kind of want the, you know, I don't know. I want to play a stadium. I want to play to thousands of people. I want to experience it once. A lot of my friends are like, oh, it's nothing, but but I haven't done it, so I wouldn't know. And what I didn't realize, I was told this by 2 separate people who I want to thank. Aaron and Mike. 2 of my dearest friends, like actually like 2 of my closest friends in the world, you know, they were just like, man, you can do all this stuff that no one else can touch, play over changes and conceptualize things, and you have a unique way of looking at the fretboard and all this, and they were like, but man, you are lacking serious fundamentals. And you know, it's a hard pill to swallow, it's upsetting to hear, and it's an ego hit, but at the same time it's not, because I know they're not wrong. I didn't grow up learning, you know, maybe a Kiss song here or there, but I didn't like hardcore study anything like that. Never learned the Beatles, never learned anything like that. I kind of would learn riffs and then let it go. I would never learn the rest of the song. But I could read and sight read a big band chart like a demon and do the Freddie Green thing. So I did that all throughout my teens. Played in big bands. Played jazz. Poorly. Still play it poorly. And, you know, never just learnt those basic things. So sometimes I'm sitting down and going, well, what does it take for me to get a better gig and keeping it? You know, what's stopping me? And it's realizing that, like, wow, I'm missing so much of that. So I'm trying to reinvent myself as a player from now on. You know, if you've watched my channel, you've seen how crazy I can get with playing wild stuff, stupid tapping and weird scales and buckethead licks or whatever. But you might notice that I'm also trying to play a lot less. And that's been a thing. If you all had seen me a year ago, all I did was overplay, non-stop. And I'd complain about other people overplaying because I was annoyed at myself for overplaying. If a guitar player ever complains about their playing, it's usually something in their own playing they need to fix. And I want to say, if I'm ever complaining about stuff, it's because I recognize that I need to fix it. This black truck driving behind me is very aggressive and he needs to calm down. And I don't know, how about getting a lower truck so you don't hit school kids, mate? I don't get it. Some people drive so ridiculously here, huge trucks. It's like, doesn't get a life, mate. Anyway, this is like one of those really weird, long-winded things where I've had a weird day, but I'm really excited to go play music, and I'm going to meditate and focus. I'm going to set up. We're playing for 45 minutes. I'll try and film as much of it as I can, but he'll have some mates there, so I'll say, like, hey, can you film it and send it to me so I can upload it? I'll give some thoughts after. I'm meeting up with a mate of mine, Owen Barry, after quickly too. And then that's nice. I don't get to see Owen very much. Owen's been very good to me. Very, 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 very good to me. All names I've mentioned today have. But I think, you know, when I started this channel, it was about I'm a Broadway player, and now I think it's going to be I'm not. I'm a musician who is evolving and trying to get better, and I'd like to be better. 31, but I still maintain those dreams of being the best cat in the world at what I do, or enough to make a splash on the guitar community. See, I know this is 7 minutes of rubbish. Maybe none of this matters. Maybe I'll post this and no one cares. You know, some of my videos people care. Some of my videos no one cares. I've had a couple of people call and ask for lessons. I'll do it. It won't be cheap because I don't really want to do it. If you want a lesson, it's $80 for an hour, and we're just going to talk about the major scale for an hour. I'm just going to show you how I think about it, because without that, the fundamentals of playing lines like me or conceptualizing playing over changes like me is nothing. Or I might, if I'm ever bothered, make like a PDF and sell it for like $10 or something, $15, and it's like, hey, here's how I think. Because I've certainly bought PDFs from players. Oz Noy, I bought a book of his, and it was very eye-opening for me. And all the Ted Green stuff is free online, and real books are free online. You can learn enough from those to make you a jazz superstar, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go play this show. I'm really excited. I'm excited to play with my friends. I'm excited to play some music, and I don't know, man. This is a new horizon for me, and admitting it out loud so that I can go work on it, and so that everyone can see that, like, yeah, I'm out here doing the thing, but I'm nowhere near perfect or where I'd like to be, and I'm no saint. So let's see what happens if I put my best foot forward for the next while. All right, I'm gonna go play the show and show you all some clips. Oh, by the way, I'm only using 2 pedals on this show: a King of Tone, like an Analog Man Brothers AM, and a Fender, the Hammer Tone series, a delay that Kevin Shuck gave me, which is very kind, and I really love this thing. The thing I love most about that delay is that the mix knob is really subtle until you get to about 50, 60%. And I actually wish that was the case. 9 times out of 10, I find my mix at like 26%. But I wish it was at 50 and I had more microscopic control over those kinds of things. Like I almost wish I could have like a 26.5. Sometimes I run things in parallel just so I can double the amount of control I have over the mix, right? But then obviously it sounds different than in line. Blah, 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 pedals. So yeah, 2 pedal show. Strat, 2 pedals, deluxe reverb. Just realizing you don't need much else, right? Alright, I'm gonna go do my gig. See you in a bit.
So have a good night.
All right, g'day. Done the show. Quick pro tip: seatbelt. Heck yeah, very good idea, man. That was awesome. I neglected to mention earlier, it's a birthday show for Mr. Truman. He is 22 today. Man, that was really great. The set flew by. You know, there's something really exciting about... Ooh, stray cat. Take him home, give him a nice life. He's at the back of the 7-Eleven. He's probably stoked, probably getting fed, you know. There's something sick about playing shows, you know, sometimes where you just don't know anyone in the band. Like, you know, I knew Truman, obviously, but the rest of them, yeah, that place is still there. There's a shawarma place over there, Vega, I ate once. A good friend, Matthew Mitchell, who was texting me today. We will go get Tower or Bills very soon, Matt, I promise. Probably won't even watch this. But, there's something kind of awesome sometimes just about getting up and going for it. And, you know, I was a little anxious because it's normal, but you get through it and you feel real good and you play and, you know, you learn to communicate in stage and not overplay. And I didn't even plug in, I just turned up my amp. I had a King of Tone, the Analog Man version, and a Fender Echo pedal. And the rig was mighty. It sounded great. In the room, it sounded good. The band sounded great. Truman's playing a Bad Cat, his little pedal board. He's got that Silver RC booster. I guess it's the Scott Henderson one. It sounds fantastic. Anyway, yeah, man, that was a really fun gig. You know, I made some mistakes. It happens, but I had fun and got lost in the music. And man, Truman played the solo at the end. It was just like, it was so good, man. He's just one of those cats who's like, he's musical, you know what I mean? Like, really musical. And he's creating music, which is a form of art and an artistic expression. And that's so much cooler to me than like trying to write a number one or anything like that. So thank you, Truman, for having me. It was lovely to meet your friends and your family. He's off doing, you know, what you do for your 22nd birthday, getting blotto, I guess. But hey, I had a lot of fun. That was a really fun gig. Thank you, Truman, for having me. Yeah, there's something really fun about going into a situation and having to figure out what are the best moves I make and what can I do. You know, because now I've got to watch this footage back and sometimes like, oh, wow, like, that was a really bad choice. Or like, oh, that wasn't the best choice. But like, you review the stuff and you edit yourself in real time and you learn how to become a better player by genuinely evaluating yourself. You don't just sit there and be like, oh, I'm a dickhead and I'm the worst. And, you know, I'm guilty of that. And there's players who are freaks of nature level good who do that. And it's like, you know, but you have to sit there and go like critically, like, what can I improve on? And now here's an interesting concept. If you ever hear someone who's like, you know, there's the stories of Alan Holdsworth and Michael Brecker playing this mind-blowing stuff and someone's like, dude, that was life-changing. And they go, no, it's terrible. Here's how I think people need to think about that, you know, hearing that. I've had someone compliment me and say, that was really, really good, man. That was like really inspiring. And I'm like, I fucking suck, bro. People don't want to hear that. People just want to hear, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Even though you're thinking that. And the reason I think so many of these high-level players think like that is because they have done so much work to the point that they can inherently notice the issues that others cannot. Right? I know when I'm playing lines and using a swing feel, when my swing feel hits off, I notice, like, even if it's 1%, like, I notice. Now, I said earlier in this, I'm not very good at the fundamentals, and I'm working hard at that. I'm sitting there learning, like, Tom Petty and Beatles records and stuff, you know what I mean, man? I never did that. I'm just doing it now as an adult. By the way, if you have any recommendations for really good records just to listen to, or records you listened to as a kid, or teenager and learn, that would be cool, you know. I have always listened to so much music. Doesn't mean I've learnt it, but I never really listened to the Beatles or the Eagles, which explains why I perhaps have a unique, meaning bad, sense of melody and stuff. You know, I grew up listening to Steely Dan and Susie and the Banshees and Magazine and Sono and Sun Ra and I don't know, everything under the sun, Buck Owens, except like these normalized kind of big bands, right? Like T-Rex was my Beatles. I thought Mark Bolan, I thought everyone knew who Mark Bolan was. And XTC, those are my dad's two favorite bands, you know. One of my mum's favorite bands is the Cramps. I thought everyone knew when Lux Interior died that was like a big deal. That was one of my friends' last days of high school. My mum was crying. You know. Funny story about her, which I can tell now that I'm older, is she got in trouble when I was 7 because she rocked up to the school blasting Eminem out of the car, picking me and my mates up, thinking she was cool. And the principal came over and was like, "Can you not?" And she's like, "Nah." And my dad's favorite, he tells this story better than I do, but it's very funny. When I was about 5 or 6, I had this best mate who I always used to hang out with. And he picks both of us up from school, and I get in the car and I go, oh Dad, you put on Charlie, will you? And he goes, "Oh sure, yeah." And my friend sitting next to me goes, "Who's Charlie?" And apparently, you know, Dad turned around at this point because he had to grab the CD from like the little back down there, and apparently he's looking at me, and I just go, "You don't know who Charlie Parker is?" Like, I was like 6, man. What was wrong with me? You know what I mean? But all this stuff, all these crazy memories and musical things are all just part of the collection that makes the tome that is you as a person. So I'd love to know what makes you click and tick, and what records changed your life as a kid. Kiss Alive, that was huge for me. Ace Frehley's Run on Lum Gun. Oh, I remember hearing. Oh, dude, my wife bought me a ticket to see Kiss in their final Nashville show, and I'll admit I cried 5 or 6 times. And it wasn't crying because Kiss is over. It wasn't crying because, you know, this song. It made me cry because that was like my first beyond huge show that I remember. The first big band, like popular band I saw was Green Day when I was 10. It's really funny. Quick anecdote, I remember driving there with my friend Gabby Brash, her older sister Libby, and I think their dad, Larry. They're now Rufus. So Rufus's dad. And we were in the car, and Rufus's older sister, Livy, had learned all the names. She was a few years older, 5, 6, 7 years older than us. She had figured out, learned all the names of the band members. And we Rufus and I, little 10-year-olds, had it in our head that, when they call out the trumpet player for Green Day's name, no one's going to know who that is, so no one will yell out. My dad was just like, "No, dude, they're going to go crazy." And we're like, no, but like, we know who he is, and not many people are going to know, so it's going to be very quiet. Opening for them was My Chemical Romance and Jimmy Eat World, and that was, you know, everyone went for MCR, and now MCR are like beyond huge, right? Hey, I saw Kiss. I'll tell you this story. This is a really fun story. I saw Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne in the same week. I don't know how or why, but I was blessed, my friends. So on the Tuesday, my dad took me down to Sydney to see Kiss. I was 12, mind you. And no, he took me to see Ozzy Osbourne on the Tuesday, and I had gotten that as like a Christmas present, birthday present, and then I had gotten the Kiss ticket as a birthday present, Christmas present. The other way around, whatever it was, man. It was 20 years ago. But I saw Ozzy on the Tuesday. He had Zakk Wylde, and it was like, yeah. My dad always says, James always says, yeah, he kind of shuffles out. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, dude. I took my son to see this old guy who could barely fucking sing, and he's half dead. And then he starts singing, and it's all there, and he's fucking awesome. And Dad's like, admittedly not a huge Ozzy or Sabbath fan, if at all. I think he likes like first Sabbath record, you know, or maybe like Volume 4. I heard Sabbath growing up. I remember hearing Sabbath growing up and hearing how important that was. It's very influential. And he's just always like, yeah, it was really good. And then he took me out of school, and I got the next day off, and the next day off, and we stayed in Sydney, and we had like this big kind of boys trip, and I went and saw Kiss on the Thursday. Now I remember this. There was a girl at my school, and I won't say who it was, because who knows? I have no contact with her, but she may end up seeing this and be like, oh, don't mention me. There was a girl at my school. She was one of like the cool girls or whatever. She's part of that clique. I went to the bathroom before the show started, and who did I run into but her? And she was like, oh, please don't tell anyone at school. Anyway, saw Kiss. It was mind-blowing. It was incredible. After the show, I'm like a little kid, you know, I'm beaming, like, oh, I just saw Kiss. Oh, they played Love Gun. Oh, they played Black Diamond. Tommy did the run just like Ace. And it was, they had the guitar. And it's, you know, losing my mind. And Dad's real quiet. And we get in the car, and I just go, okay, what did you think? You know, car's on the other side of the street. But I remember him just sitting here exactly like this. Perfect timing out of light. He goes, that was fucking awesome, man. I was like, yeah, dude. He's not listening to Kiss. But he went to all his friends. He's like, dude, if Kiss come back to Australia, I will take everyone to see Kiss. They are amazing live. They put on one of the best shows I've ever seen. You couldn't pay that man to listen to Kiss now. So, hey, thank you, Mum and Dad, supporting me doing this and doing stuff like that. I miss them every day. And I probably don't need to talk about that in that channel, but if your parents are around, give them a call, because it's really nice when they are. So yeah, I'm really stoked that I got to see stuff like that. Anyway, look, I was talking about something else, and of course I've blanked on it, which is really, really, really fantastic. Yeah, anyway, if you had any life-changing albums or whatever you learned as a kid, I'm trying to go back and learn some basics. I really wish I do remember what I was talking about. Anyway, that's the point of this thing, I guess, right? I'm not going to sit there and edit and go back, and this is just who I am, man. I'm really good at starting a kind of train of thought, branching out, coming back. But this time, I guess I'm not coming back, and if I'm not saying it, then perhaps it wasn't meant to be said. Last thing for the gearheads who reach the end. 2 pedals on a gig is fucking awesome. It fucking rules. I had 2 options for overdrive, and I couldn't even set it perfect. And I had 1 option for delay, and I made it work, and it was very fun, and it wasn't as scary as I thought. My hands did all the work. So, you know, the clips of me playing aren't the greatest, but I'm not the greatest player. I don't really think I'm that good. But, yeah. Anyway, I'm also about to hit 1,000 subscribers, and that's really incredible. So yeah, thanks. I might set up an email where you can email me questions, and you know, what kind of deodorant do you use? What shoe size are you? Will you give me your guitar for free? Probably not. Sorry, mate. Why do you suck? You know? No, I'll set it up so that anyone serious about a lesson can email me. No weirdos, no soliciting, all the usual. But yeah, man, I do wish I could remember what I was talking about. I feel like I was going to say something cool to me anyway. Saw Ozzy, saw Kiss, childhood shows, big band, Green Day. I was meant to see Kiss in 2003 when they recorded with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, Kiss Alive 4, but it was an 18+ show. Dad tried to call and be like, oh man, I got this kid, like, we're in Melbourne this weekend, so we missed the Sydney show, please. It wouldn't let me. But these things happen for a reason. I don't know what the most life-changing show I saw back then was. Probably the most life-changing shows I saw when I was saved up and I was 19 and I traveled to New York City and went and saw like Kurt Rosenwinkel, Mike Moreno, and Aaron Parks and all that. I'll talk about that some other time. All right, I'm gonna go play a game of pool, and then go play downtown. So I'm gonna upload this. Thanks as usual for listening to everything. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate every single one of you who's commented, who's like subscribed. I'm just trying to keep it real, and I'm not going to sell you anything forced, and I'm not going to, you know, I tried to do that whole guitar thing where you edit it all and do all that. I think it's all rubbish, personally. I don't, you know, if I hear a demo, I want to hear a phone demo, and I want to see the person play it on a gig or at home, and I want to know they can play, because 1,000 takes is like, anyone can, well, not anyone, but you know what I mean, like, you can get to it, so, yeah. It's like me trying to learn a solo, practice it 1,000 times, you know what I mean, but like, that's not me. Although I have friends who do demos and are authentic and crazy good musicians. You know, Corey and RJ are two of the best musicians I know. But they don't do, when I talk about this stuff, I'll say, actually, I'll clarify. What I don't like is stuff that sounds fake or is pushing something, you know, and it's a little sus. These guys do demos, but these guys offer lessons. These guys talk about stuff. They're not shilling. I just don't like the guitarists who pander and shill and like do all this stuff where it's like, you don't need to do that, mate. Like, this is a rubbish pedal. Why are you trying to sell it? You know what I mean? Like, or like, this is such a weird advertisement, you know? Can't buy me, I'll tell you that. But if you're a company, you want to send me stuff and you want an honest opinion, which I know most of you don't, I'll give it to you. All right, peace, y'all.